Hey, how are you? Let's go over the monthly market data for Polk and Dallas counties, the bulk of the Des Moines metro real estate market. We're comparing numbers from March 2025 to April 2025. Now you'll want to watch to the end because I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of bills that were at the State House this year. They didn't get passed, but they would impact property taxes and how much the local governments can levy in property taxes. The legislators, senators, and representatives are attempting to cap or limit how much taxes, how much you pay, goes up each year. Okay, so let's first start with the data. From March to April, we had an increase of almost 9% active listings. So active listings going up a little bit, which is bad for sellers, good for buyers. Pended units went down by almost 5%. So market stalled a little bit. Spring's been interesting this year. It's been a very interesting market just in general. So if you know anyone that wants to take advantage of an interesting market, let me know. Sold units went up by almost 22%. The number of units that expired went down by about 29%. In the fall and the winter, we're seeing a lot of listings withdraw and expire because, quite honestly, sellers, it's not 2 to 3 years ago. Your expectations have to update. And really, just generally speaking, that's kind of the slow part of real estate is sellers have in their mind, what it was or what they heard years ago when the market is very different now today than it was in 2021 and 22. Average days on market didn't change much, went down about 6.5% from 85 to 80 days on market. Absorption pricing index, or the months of inventory, went down from 4 months to 3 months. So 4 months is kind of the max of a seller's market. 3 months means it's a hotter seller's market. So that change was about 10.5%. The average sold price went up by about 4.5%. In Polk County, it actually went down from March to April, but a difference was made up in Dallas County. So generally speaking, the market is strong. Overall, when I pull data every month, it's about 2.7 months of inventory for the entire Des Moines Area Association of Realtors. Now, when I do very specific 2-mile radiuses around people's addresses in different parts of the city, I'm seeing 1.5 months of inventory, which is hot seller's market. And then on the other hand, I'm seeing like longer days on market. Like downtown, when I looked, it was like 10 months of inventory about a month ago when I pulled those numbers for downtown townhomes and condos. So it's very niche-y. You have to look at your specific price point, where you're shopping, and what your market's doing, which is kind of true all the time. However, overall, in terms of the United States of America, like Southern Florida is a buyer's market, San Francisco is a seller's market. I asked AI to just kind of lay out for me what's doing what around the country. So Midwest is still pretty stable and strong. Northeast is still in a seller's market, but other parts of the country are moving into buyer's markets. And there's a lot of economic factors that are impacting that. Okay, so let's talk about House Study Bill 313 and Senate Study Bill 1208. That would limit property tax levy, would cap how much they can raise your taxes by 2%. So if you want to know the details, Google it. There's all these kind of intricacies. Property values are supposed to keep up with market values, but they can only tax a certain percentage of that. Neither bill passed. They did not come to an agreement. So they're attempting to limit how much property taxes go up each year for the average Iowan. When I've pulled numbers before across the country, we're like 14th highest in the nation for property taxes. Now you also got to look at what you get for that. We get a lot of services for that. Just saying, when I've lived in the South, those roads aren't as good as they are here. Plus we have snow to take care of, which affects our roads every year, as an example. What I have noticed, though, is that some counties are raising their taxable value by quite a bit, knowing that there's going to be some limitations to meet their budgets because of how much this 2% cap would impact county governments and schools and those kind of things. So again, if you want the details, Google that. There's a couple of articles out there I think it's Iowa Daily News, and the Des Moines Register. So what I want to leave you with here is that there's multiple kinds of values for any property. There's appraised value, which is how much a lender will lend on a property. There's taxable value, which is like how much the tax assessor can take, how they determine to take taxes. Then there's the market value, which is how much a buyer is willing to pay, plus some other things. So in terms of sales, it's always what a buyer is willing to pay, what the market value is. So you want your taxable value to be low, and just because the tax assessor says it's worth such and such, that's not necessarily the market value, even though the law is such that it's supposed to keep up with market value, but they only assess once a year, so seasonality is always in play. All right, well, a little longer than what I'd hoped, but a lot of information this month. If you got a question for me, reach out, 515-218-9222, direct message me on social media, text me, however you prefer. And I hope you're well, and I hope you're enjoying this beautiful spring weather. Have a blessed day.